So, you are most welcome to this part of learning. My name is Naiga Ahmed, and I'm going to be taking you through a topic called transport. This topic is majorly taught in senior degree, and in this topic, I've picked out major keywords where I'm going to use different video materials to show you as we go through this topic of transport. Can you please talk about yourself?
I am Brothers. Happy to be with you.
Okay, so you're most welcome. So let us continue with my presentation that I prepared. So these are the keywords that I've talked about that we are going to be dealing with in the topic of transport. One of them is types of transport. What are the types of transport? After that, we are going to be looking at the modes, or you can call them the means of transport, then transport infrastructure, then advantages and disadvantages of each type of transport, and then lastly, the advantages of transport. So when you look at this picture that you're seeing here, what comes into your mind?
Thank you. I look at that picture. I'm seeing the map of the world, seeing different means of transport. I'm seeing the vehicles, seeing the airplane, and I think the air transport moving from one place to another place.
Okay, thank you very much for that you've expressed. And exactly whatever you've talked about is the definition of transport. So transport is the movement of people and goods from one place to another. You've seen that map of the world. In transport, it helps us to move in different places that are in the world. You can move from Africa, you go to different parts of Europe, and so on. So when we continue, so when we continue, you're looking at that map of Uganda. So I brought transport closer to our country, which is Uganda. Remember, I said transport helps us to move to different parts of the world. Now, in Uganda, you can move to different parts of Uganda. You can move from northern Uganda, western Uganda to central Uganda. And there are so many things that connect us. And that is what I call the transport infrastructure. For example, you can find we have roads that connect central to eastern and so on. So are you seeing these two things? One is a circle and the other is a rectangle that I drew there. So when you look at AN is a point and BD is also one point. So when you talk about transport, it is that thing that connects you from point AN to point BD. So what enables us to move from the one point to another is what we refer to as transport. So as we continue in our presentation, here we are. So what you're seeing here is what you call the transport infrastructure. When you talk about transport infrastructure, these are things that aid our transport from one place to another. For example, when you talk about you're moving from Nkozi and you're going to Masaka, what are you going to use? Are you going to move? What are you going to move on? So an example is a road, and that is what aids our transport, and it's called transport. In the first picture, you're seeing a road. In the second, you're seeing water, and the other one is the national air. So those are the examples of different transport infrastructure. Still in this picture, it brings them more out. Aeroplanes move in the air because the air aids the transport in air transport. Then we have a road where the car is moving. We have the trails where the train is passing. Then water where you see that ship. So when we continue, what are you seeing in this picture?
Okay, I'm seeing the taxi with goodies. I'm seeing the man in the elevator, and I'm seeing another person walking in the led, and I'm also seeing the lady on the on, on the horse.
Okay, So what you've seen there is exactly what we mean when we say about means. Which are these things we use when we are moving from one place to, and you've almost mentioned everything. Of course, that car helps us to move from one place to another. Motorcycle, then a horse, it can help you to move from this place to another. Even our legs themselves, because they help us to move from one place to another, and then a helicopter, as you've seen. So to continue, now here we come to the types of transport. I think you've ever used some of these, not so?
Yes.
And among the ones you've ever used, I think air transport is not part of them. So we have road transport as a type of transport, then rail transport, water transport, and then air transport. So what do we mean when we talk about these types of transport? So you see in these pictures, we have the different means, and then on the side we have types of transport. So this means, remember, the different types of transport have different means of transport. When we look at the first type of transport, which is road transport, we have cars, we have a tricycle, and these are specifically the means that are involved in road transport. Then in air transport, we are having there an aeroplane, a helicopter, and these are the means that aid air transport. And then lastly, water transport, we have a boat, we have a ship, and these are some of the means of transport that aid water transport. So as we continue, here we come more of the means of transport. I think this picture is stressing out the different types and more examples of the means of transport than in the past pictures that we had. This is stressing more using the bicycle and so on, as we talked about them. So let's continue. Now here I'm having a video here, and it is going to take you through the part that we've learned and more on the types of transport. So I want you to listen, and after it, you're going to tell me what you've seen or what you've heard and what you've learned.
Hi kids, I am Boo. Let us learn the names of various types of transportation around us. There are three different categories of transportation. These are the land transport, the water transport, the air transport. Now let us learn the names of each type of transport. Land transport. The transport that we find on land is called land transport. Car, bus, bicycle, tram, train, auto rickshaw, motorcycle, next comes water transport. The transport we find in water is called water transport. Passenger ship, boat, ferry, yacht, submarine, raft, canoe, motorboat, cargo ship, jet scooter. Next comes air transport. The transport we find in air is called air transport. Aeroplane, helicopter, jet, rocket, hot air balloon. So kids, now you know what are the different names of transport we find on land, in water and in the air.
Don't forget to like,
Okay, so thank you for being attentive and listening to that video where we had words and then the audio. Sorry for calling you a kid, but it was trying to stress out of what I was explaining. Can you give me anything new you've had, or has it clearly clarified what I've been talking about transport?
Okay, thank you. We have seen different various modes of means of transport. When we talk about the transport, what kind of transport is in water, what kind of the means of transport is in airplane, air transport, and land transport. We have seen that under the water transport, we have the boat, the, which aid in moving from one point to the next.
Okay, so thank you for sharing with us with me what you've learned. So we are going to continue with our sorry for that. So as we continue, we are now going to talk about the advantages of the different types of transport. So when you talk about road transport, so this picture here, it is an infographic. So it has a picture and then information of the different advantages and disadvantages of different types of transport. On the examples of road transport, we have day-to-day services where you can easily move from one day to another, economic or over short distances, flexible, and then limited capital expense. Then on the disadvantages, it is irregular and unreliable, it is unsuitable for long distances. For example, if you are moved from here and you either want to go to America, you'll find that you cannot use road transport. Then no uniformity in rates, where the fee for a given transport varies from places to place, and then limited speed, and then it is also affected by water, because if it is heavily raining, you cannot move on a border. Then when it comes to rail transport, on the advantages of rail transport, we have it moves on a high speed, then it is suitable for long distances, and then it carries bulk goods from different countries. You can find traders in Uganda move their goods from Kenya on rail transport. Then it has a high rate of protection, then it has a large carrying capacity. Then on the disadvantages, we have huge capital expenditure because it is expensive to construct those rails on the road, then high overheads, no door-to-door services, no competition, and then inflexible mode. So as we move on, let us go to air transport. What are the advantages of air transport? We have this infographic. It has some pictures and then words that showcasing the advantages and disadvantages of different types of transport. On air transport, we have it is flexible, it has quick service, natural highways, protection, and high speed. Then on its disadvantages, we are seeing limited carrying capacity, international restrictions. So can you help me and you read for me the advantages of water transport I have shown?
Okay, advantages of water transport. Number one is the cheapest mode of transport. Number 2, it is large carrying capacity. Number 3, it is safety. Number 4, it is protection to goods. And number 5 is security.
Okay. So thank you very much for taking us through that. Then I'm going to continue with the disadvantages of water transport. It has a huge capital expenditure, then slow, high cost of maintenance, no door-to-door services. This is on either a lake or an ocean, so there are no next closed houses for which you can offer those services. Then we have special parking. You will never find parking for ships anywhere, so it has to be in a specific area. So as we continue with our presentation, we are going to look at this. This shows more of the disadvantages of road transport. They are underdeveloped, and I think you see this in our Uganda. You'll find some roads are muddy because they are murram roads, and then the diesel at times goes high, and then we have unimproved roads. More so in our Kampala, you sit on a border, and then it bangs you on a hole. Next time you have issues with your health, and you have to run to the hospital to put your bum in order. So as we continue, okay, so here is a graph, and this graph is taking us through the importances of transport in our country. So it helps us in economic growth, industrial revolution, mass production, and then globalization. And then it is showing us the different modes of transport that aid that particular sector of growth. For example, in economic growth, we have shipping, where ships carry goods from different countries, then they are brought in Uganda, and this really aids our economic growth. And then on my right, hope you're seeing the transportation industry contribution to the GDP of Uganda. When I talk about GDP, I mean the gross domestic product of Uganda. So you see in 2018, it was contributing that percentage. In 2019, that percentage as you see on that graph. Okay, so as we continue, we are having a video here. So I want you to listen to it, and then you will express to me what has showcased to you in this video.
Welcome to our channel. Today, we will be discussing the 7 importance of transport in East Africa. Transportation plays a crucial role in driving economic growth in East Africa. Road transport is the most accessible mode of transportation in the region. It allows people to travel for work, education, and healthcare, connecting communities effectively. Transportation infrastructure links rural areas to urban centers, promoting trade and commerce. Shipping through seaports facilitates international trade, boosting the region's economy. Air transport provides fast and efficient connectivity, supporting tourism and business activities. Good transportation systems improve access to markets, allowing farmers to sell their products more easily. Transportation services enable the movement of goods and services, enhancing regional integration within East Africa. Efficient transport networks attract foreign investments, creating job opportunities and driving economic development. Inadequate transport infrastructure hinders growth and slows down the movement of people and goods in East Africa. Lack of reliable transport systems can increase the cost of doing business and limit economic opportunities. Improved transport networks can reduce poverty by increasing access to education, healthcare, and employment. Investing in sustainable transport infrastructure reduces greenhouse gas emissions and supports environmental conservation. Transportation enhances regional integration, fostering cooperation and unity among East African nations. Accessible and efficient transportation links enable the distribution of humanitarian aid during times of crisis. By connecting remote areas, transportation contributes to poverty alleviation and enhances social inclusivity. Efficient transport systems support the tourism industry, attracting visitors and promoting cultural exchange. Transportation facilitates the movement of medical personnel and supplies, improving healthcare access in remote areas. Reliable transport systems enable the timely delivery of essential goods, such as food and medicine, during emergencies. Road connectivity is crucial in ensuring the safe and effective delivery of education to rural communities. Transport infrastructure connects East African countries, enabling cross-border trade and economic cooperation. Investing in transport networks results in improved road safety and reduced accidents, saving lives. Efficient transportation networks reduce travel time, increasing productivity and economic efficiency in East Africa. Transportation provides opportunities for cultural exchange and facilitates cross-border cooperation in the region. Improved transport links encourage foreign direct investment, contributing to East Africa's economic growth and development. Transportation promotes regional stability and peace by fostering economic ties and cooperation among nations. By investing in transport infrastructure, East Africa can overcome challenges and achieve sustainable development goals. To conclude, transportation is vital for the progress and prosperity of East Africa, both economically and socially.
Okay, so I hope you paid close attention to that video when it was played. So I want you to identify what was that video taking us to.
Okay, thank you. Maybe I will want to the video about 26 of roads in Uganda and its neighboring running with the land. It promotes activity between different parts of the country. Let's see. And another issue is about it has provided goodies to people, but their transportation of goodies, they are being transported very quickly from the countries by using the air transport from, from Europe countries to Uganda.
Okay, yeah. So I'm so happy that you have at least been able to identify that this video was really taking us through the different advantages of the transportation. So you've been able to get so many things that have really helped, that the transportation sector has contributed to the development of our different countries. So thank you for being really attentive. I'm seeing your hand up. Is there anything you want to say?
Okay, thank you. Would like to know about the, the air transport. Is that in Uganda we have one 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 port for the for the for the airport. We have so many departments in terms of airport. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you for that wonderful question. Remember, when we talk about air transport, this is the type of transport that occurs in air. So people move from one place to another, but it is done in air. So air is the infrastructure that aids air transport. When it comes to Uganda, many people know that it is only one airport, which is Entebbe Airport, and it has for years been the major airport that we had in Uganda. But of recent, there are so many other airports that are being constructed by the government. An example I can give you is there is an airport that is being constructed in Hoima district. I think you know and have ever heard of Hoima district because you come from the west. From your name, Beyamba, I think you come from the west.
Yes.
So do you know Hoima district?
Yes.
Exactly. So in that district, there is an airport that is being constructed. And this step that we have taken is going to happen to so many other districts that have been chosen by the government. So at first, it is taking place in Hoima of recent. So they are constructing another airport. So hope I've answered your question. Do you have any other question? Okay. So since you don't have any other question, I thank you for coming and attending to this part of learning where we have been going through road transport. And I hope that the different visuals that I've used in this presentation have at least helped you to understand more when it comes to transport in Uganda, our country, and to different parts of the world. So thank you for also contributing actively, and I wish you God's blessings. The Lord be with you.
Thank you.